What is going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy on Fall, topping back in with another vid. You know what I'm saying? And today we're about to be reacting to. We know what I'm saying with that boy Catton two times. Who is the best player in the NBA right now, man? That's what we're about to be talking about and debating and watching today. It's a highly recommended video, man. I think we gotta get right into it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get to it. Yes, sir.
A couple people have been asking me why haven't I done any videos about the NBA, even though we just went through the playoffs and we went through the NBA Finals. The Knicks won, Wemby and the Spurs lost, and the reason is because, well, the timing just didn't line up. But I'm here now, and in this video, I'm going to answer who is the best player in the NBA right now. The answer is not obvious, so you're gonna want to stick around and watch this.
Hey, before we go, right? Who do you think is the best player in the NBA right now, bro? Chat, who do you guys think too, bro? Like, who do you guys think is the best player in the NBA right now, man?
Ooh, I ain't gonna lie. Right now, it's gotta be probably SGA, bro.
Okay.
Or Wemby. Wemby.
I ain't gonna lie. Okay, respectfully, what I see on my screen, it can go a couple of ways. It can go SGA. Giannis, bro. Personally, I had Giannis as the best player in the NBA a couple years ago.
On here is Jokic.
Nah, I don't know. Listen, SGA won MVP last year, but then Jokic has more MVPs.
And won.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
For me, Luka doesn't even have a ring, bro.
Yeah, Luka's a dog, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. Luka was better than SGA at a point, but SGA is the best player in the league. I'm gonna be honest. SGA is the best player in the league. Then you got Jokic, or it can be tied, or it can be Jokic. And then I'm gonna say Giannis probably in the coming third, bro. Victor Wembanyama went to the finals, but then Victor's up there too. But then Victor just had a good playoff run. I like. Where's Anthony Edwards too? Nah, bro. Come on, let's see.
Not on this list, bro.
Our video. But remember, before you do, please press that subscribe button. Let's help my channel get more popular. Big changes are coming in the near future. The way I see it, there are 6 players with at least some legitimate claim to being the best in the world at this moment. We have Jalen Brunson, we have Giannis, we have Luka, we got Victor Wembanyama, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Nikola Jokic. I'm going to be evaluating them one by one, starting off with New York's favorite little man, Jalen Brunson. The argument...
I understand he just won a championship,
I definitely understand that.
But Anthony Edwards is better. I'm gonna be honest. Anthony Edwards is better than Jalen Brunson, bro. Okay. Just he has a better team.
It's for Brunson being the best player in the world are his knack for making clutch shots. There's no doubt about it. Brunson, as we saw in the finals and as we've seen over the last couple years in the postseason, he's not afraid of the moment and he has a knack for making clutch shots. He just won Finals MVP and he helped snap the Knicks' 53-year title drought. But he wasn't just a one-series wonder. Like I said, he now has had about 4 years of consistently great performance in the postseason. He's a playoff riser, which
I ain't gonna lie. He used to average 9. Then 8, then 12, then 16, then 24, then 28. Dang.
Is something that you can't say about a lot of players. And despite his size, he can get any shot off at any time because of his skill level, and that matters a lot. Now we get to the arguments against Brunson. He's a very good regular season player, but not a dominant one, or not at least to the same level of dominance as the other guys in this list. He doesn't have any MVPs, which is okay, but he also doesn't have any first-team All-NBA selections, which is a little bit more damning, especially if you're going to be considered the best player in the world. He also plays on a team that's good enough that he can pick and choose his spots and he doesn't have to carry, as we saw in the finals, although he had...
Exactly, bro. And I'm gonna be honest, bro. I feel like Cat might be better, bro. A little bit. Like, bro, if Cat wasn't there, they wouldn't win that ring. That's the thing. Cat was shooting lights out, bro. You gotta understand that. That's what I think, bro.
Yeah, Cat definitely had a lot of impact in that.
Yeah.
Finals, bro.
Great clutch moments. His shooting throughout the majority of those games was usually pretty poor until the fourth quarter, and yet he was still able to win a lot of these games because the Knicks were a very, very well-rounded team and a very well-built team.
Bro,
and they were just playing at an incredible level as a team. I mean, that's why they had the best plus-minus of any team in NBA history in the playoffs. It also is worth noting that the Knicks usually do a really good job of not blowing leads, or they do really well when Brunson is not.
Bro, how tall is Brunson, bro? Because I ain't gonna lie, he's the dog still.
6'3".
court. Not as good as they are with him on the court. It's not like
That's
they
like
hemorrhage
6'5",
points when he's
6'6",
not
maybe.
out there. And I don't mean to go all Becky Hammond on everybody,
Hell no.
but the facts is Brunson is always going to be a defensive liability because of his size. That's just the reality. And every great guard, whether it's Steph or Isaiah Thomas, undersized guards, I guess, that win championships, all of those teams won championships because
You
they
see the flopping, bro?
Bro, he is a yeah. One thing about this dude, he is a flopper, bro. He is a damn flopper, bro.
had great defenses around their small guards. You can't win with small guards unless you have great defensive pieces around them. That's just the reality. And Brunson also is not a bad passer, but he's not a great passer for a guard. He's not he's not your typical classic point guard. He's not going to get a bunch of assists. He's out there to be a scorer. So for my money, I would say that Brunson, very good player. He has the New York media behind him, but he's not the best player in the world. Next up,
Facts.
we got Giannis
I don't know if I'm putting
Antetokounmpo,
Brunson
the
all the way
former.
up top.
Yeah, he's
What do you
not.
think?
No, hell nah, bro.
He's tough.
Bro, no, bro, Luka's better, and there's so much players that are better than him. He
Yeah.
obviously won that championship, but he's not better than Victor Wembanyama, bro.
Mhm.
He's not, bro.
The Cavs honestly should have won him in the playoffs, bro. But
Former Milwaukee Buck, who is now the newest member of the Miami Heat, barring a failed physical, I assume. The arguments for Giannis being the best player in the world is that, well, when he's healthy, he's arguably the best player in the NBA. When healthy, which is a big caveat. I realize that with players nowadays, everybody is always in a rush because we play in the social media era. You know, all the players now, they're stat merchants or they're losers. Everyone always
Bro,
gets
look at this dude's stats. 22, 26, 27, 29, 28, 29, 31, 30, 30. Bro, what?
this is only on it so much better. It's
Yeah.
insane.
criticized. Nobody's safe. But
30-point
still, when
average.
Giannis is healthy, he's going to give you 30 points,
Averaging
11 rebounds,
3
and
to
6
4
assists on incredible
boards.
efficiency. He's been doing this for the last half decade, and this past season, even on that horrible shit show of a Milwaukee team, that was no different. He was still, when he was on the court, was still an amazing player, still a very impactful player. He puts an unbelievable amount of pressure on defenses every game, despite his lack of shooting ability. He's basically like a more refined version of Russell Westbrook, where Westbrook has the same type of mentality where he's constantly pushing the tempo and forcing the issue. The difference is that Westbrook is fucking inefficient as hell, and Giannis is always super efficient. So he's always keeping the
Facts.
pressure on the defense. He doesn't really bail the defense out very much. Not all the time. He still, bails them out sometimes with jumpers, but for the most part, he's like a freight train and finishing around the rim all the time. He's also still an incredible defensive player when he wants to be or he needs to be. But because of the team he played with the last couple years, he wasn't really afforded the luxury of being able to pick and choose his spots. But if he needs a crucial stop, or if there's a big moment late in the game where the Bucks need a stop, or I should say the Bucks, but the Heat need a stop, he can definitely still turn it on and be a credible defense player.
Bro, the fact that bro brought a championship to Milwaukee's insane too. I'm gonna keep it real, bro. Like, he's a dog.
That was
Perhaps
really
now
something
in Miami with a little
no
bit
one
more help than he
expected.
had in Milwaukee, we'll see a resurgence of him defensively. The arguments against Giannis are pretty easy to understand. The biggest one is injuries. He's been injury prone the last couple of years, particularly when it comes to the postseason. And really the big bugaboo for Giannis overall is the postseason. For all of his greatness, and he's been a superstar in that type of mold for the better part of a decade, really almost a decade now, he only has 2 deep playoff runs in his entire career. He only has 2 conference finals appearances, and both of those came in 2019 and 2021, which was his infamous title run in 2021 that I think is really doing a lot of the heavy lifting for his legacy. He has just 1 playoff series
I
win
didn't
and a
watch much
losing
of the
playoff
series,
record.
unfortunately, bro.
Bro, I was in Turkey watching it, and I was like, damn, this guy's different, bro. I was glazing across the world. I ain't gonna lie. He whooped Chris Paul and Devin Booker, bro. CP3, no rings.
That's crazy.
Since winning the title in 2021, that's not good. And over the last 4
Like, look at
years,
this.
he hasn't won a playoff series, and he
He
has
did it on the
one
Raptors, though,
playoff
and the
win
Cavs, never
as a
mind.
Heat.
Yo,
Overall,
I
last
swear to you, like, he did it on the Raptors. He was about to flex on me. I knew he was. And then the Cavs were right there after that. Yeah. And we got the jerseys on. Yeah.
4 years. That's
Dang.
simply, that's just not good enough. His last few years in Milwaukee, we all
Oh
know
my
were a
gosh.
gigantic soap opera. But now, perhaps in Miami with a new start, a second act,
Okay.
maybe he'll be rejuvenated. And from a game
I know Giannis
standpoint,
is good
his
for him.
total lack of a jumper and his weakness at foul line, it's always going to be a flaw. And it's always going to be a flaw.
I just thought
And
Giannis
it
is kinda
becomes most
overrated, to
obvious
be
late in
honest,
close
bro.
games.
I just thought Giannis was overrated, bro. I ain't seen much Giannis clip, bro.
You thought Giannis was overrated.
Yeah, bro. I thought Giannis was overrated.
Nah, you don't
bro.
be watching, bro. You just watch King James all day. Watch some other boy. He dunked on LeBron before.
Yeah, I've seen that clip.
In half-court settings, and that's really the one flaw that he has as a player, and when it can really show up. Because remember in 2021 when he did win his championship, it was really Chris Middleton was the guy that made a lot of the big shots late in those games. So Giannis is a guy that he's a dominant player, but his lack of jump shot and shooting ability can show up at times. So in a vacuum, I would say,
bro, he just bullied the hell out of Victor Wembanyama, bro.
Oh my gosh, bro.
If there's one game, he might be the best player in the world, but it's hard to say a guy that has basically no playoff success in the last half decade is currently the best player.
He was doing this consistently?
Luka Doncic, everybody's favorite Slovenian, unless your name is Nico Harrison. What are the arguments for Luka being the best player in the world? Well, he's the best scorer in the world. He's the best scorer in the NBA. It's pretty incredible. He basically can sleepwalk to 30 points per game whenever he's healthy, and he does so on above average efficiency. Not like superhuman efficiency, but he still is above average with his efficiency. He's the best tough shot maker in the NBA right now, with the possible.
I ain't gonna lie, he can average like 40 if he wants. Like, he's that good at scoring, bro.
Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves was a solid trio, bro.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
I ain't gonna lie. Austin Reeves was putting up Michael Jordan numbers, bro.
Bro, what are you saying?
I'm so serious, bro. Austin Reeves was putting up Michael Jordan numbers, bro.
So are you still a Lakers fan, or are you just you're leaving?
I go wherever LeBron goes.
Alright, bro. Alright, bro.
Exception of Steph Curry now that Steph's a little bit older. But Luka, he has a little bit of that Kobe and J.R. Smith syndrome, where the tougher the shot is that he's taking, the more confident you feel that it's going to go in. So Luka's just one of those guys where he just makes some really bonkers shots, like those no, yes type of shot that really only he and a select handful of other guys can make. His passing ability, he's always been an incredible passer.
That's like something that I do in real life. Like, I just shoot anything. For real.
He's got great court vision, and he has good, not great handles. But there are moments and sequences where he really is capable of some truly awe-inspiring shit in terms of splitting double teams or getting past defenders. If you're a big man with a pulse, Luka can turn you into a lob threat. He plays the game at his own pace. He almost never gets sped up or looks out of sync. He's just, for better or worse, he's going to find a way to get to his spots and make his shots or take his shots. And that's something not a lot of players can do. And from a mentality standpoint, we know that he's not afraid of big moments late in playoff games, and he's certainly not afraid of taking clutch shots and big shots. The argument against Luka, he's not an impactful defender, put it lightly, at least in a good way. Even if he does try hard, he's not that type of athlete to where he's ever going to be a shot blocker or a lockdown defender. He's just not that guy. He can try hard and he can maybe make a couple plays defensively, but he's always going to be a guy that opponents are going to target on defense, and that's just the reality. He gives you almost nothing off the ball on offense. If he doesn't have the ball in his hands offensively, you're really not going to get anything from him. And again, that's a little bit of the conundrum with Luka, because he's so amazing with the ball in his hands, so it's understandable why he has the ball a lot. But yeah, he's not going to give you much off the ball. He's not going to do a lot of screens or cutting or anything like that. His shot selection is both a blessing and a curse. He takes a lot of dumb shots, even by his standards. I feel like takes like 3 or 4 Hail Mary shots a game that he doesn't really need to take, or he could have gotten better looks for. And I think that I think that's just kind of who he is.
Oh my gosh!
Ironically, he's very similar to Kobe, another Laker guy, as we all know, where they kind of have the same weaknesses.
Bro, Luka's honestly next level, bro. Who do you think we can compare Luka to from back in the day in the 90s and 80s, bro?
Michael Jordan. I'm trolling. I'd probably compare him to like Allen Iverson, bro.
It's kind of
Kobe. Allen Iverson, yeah.
Okay.
I'm a lie. Like he reminds you of that. He always scoring.
A shooter. And in terms of the playoffs, his playoff stats are obviously gaudy. He averages 31 points a game for his career.
Oh
and his rep as a playoff performer is still currently good, despite the fact that he doesn't have any rings. But it's a what have you done for me lately type of business. And over the last 2 years, Luka doesn't have any playoff series wins, and he has just 1 playoff win total. And he didn't play in this postseason, obviously, because of his hamstring. Other things are he doesn't have any MVPs, which is kind of due due to bad timing. He's kind of like Drew Brees in that regard, where he's had some great seasons, but it just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then personally, he can get flustered and overly emotional towards the referees, and that can kind of, I don't know, he just sometimes just needs to shut up and play and stop worrying about the ref. Overall, for me, I think that he's probably the most box office, and he's the most fun to watch, or one of the most fun guys to watch, but doesn't have the team success at the moment justify being the best player in the world, the way I look at it. Victor Wembanyama, aka Wimpy.
He just needs an MVP and a championship, then yes, he can, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Once he's got a ring under his belt, for sure.
Yeah.
Is a pretty open and shut case for both pros and cons. The pros for Wemby are very, very obvious. He's probably the most impactful defensive player of all time, and that's not hyperbole. He's at least the most impactful defender the league has seen in the last 50 years since Wilt and Russell.
I ain't gonna lie, he probably is the best defender of all time.
That's
bro.
Of all time.
Like, he's going to be of all time.
Of all time.
Sorry, bro.
Already is.
Somebody like Hakeem. All
Already
those guys were incredible, but they didn't have to worry about guarding the three-point line the way that Wemby does. And so the fact that
Yo, you're glazing, bro. Shut the hell up.
No one's better than Wemby, bro.
Alright, bro.
Game is
alright, bro.
You're telling me you're telling me if Wembanyama was guarding Michael Jordan, bro.
Michael Jordan could score on Wemby, so did Ja. Ja dunked on Wemby. Of course Jordan could dunk on Wemby. You're tripping.
But Jordan's getting stopped a lot, bro.
Obviously, I mean, he's 7'10".
Yeah, bro.
Everyone's gonna get stopped.
So Wemby wins.
Bro, no, bro.
Yeah,
impacts and distorts the game on that side of the ball so much. Despite that, is really just incredible. He's not even 23 years old, and we all know.
Bro, let the video play. Shut up. Let the video
play, bro.
End up winning like.
Let the video play.
Years if he stays healthy, and that's actually being kind of conservative. I mean, there's it's one of those things where we all know that he's the best defensive player in the world as long as he's out there. You know, so I'm sure.
Bro, he only played 3 seasons. Damn.
With ways to give other guys the but we all know the best is going to be for the foreseeable future on that end. For a guy who's 7'4", he's very coordinated and he's got good touch, especially as a free throw shooter. He's an 80% free throw shooter for his career. Normally with the big guys like that, that's usually a problem, but not with Wemby. And he has a particular knack for following his own misses very well without even putting the ball on the floor, meaning he'll throw up a shot and it'll miss, and then he'll catch it like off the backboard in the air and then dunk it. And honestly, that might be the freakiest shit that he does that makes me go, holy crap, more than anything else, because he doesn't even like catch it. You know, like Moses Malone was famous for his me bounds, where he would throw up a shot and miss it, and he'd grab it and then dribble it and go back up again. Wemby just does that in one motion in the air, and it's pretty crazy every time. But then we get to the negatives, which are also pretty obvious. The negatives are the fact that for as good as he is, he really basically has no idea what he's doing on offense, even after 3 years. He has basically no center of gravity. He gets very easily pushed off his spot in the low post, and this forces him to settle for jumpers, which just bails out the opponent. He's never going to be a bruiser. He just doesn't have the frame or the lower body strength, bully defenders, and to get position close to the basket. His shot selection remains puzzling. He's the textbook example of a sometime shooter where, you know, his three-point shot is on fire some nights, and when that's going, it's amazing. But when his three-point shot isn't falling on a particular night, it seems like he doesn't really have a backup plan most of the time. He needs to
who doesn't like this?
That's true, though.
This shot was the craziest shot of all time in the finals, bro.
That's true, though. Like, he be shooting like at a crazy level, then he forgets how to shoot at sometimes, bro. Like, that's a real thing.
To move around the paint or in the mid-range area.
Wemby,
you know, you're 7'5". Take some more shots closer to the basket instead of settling for so many threes. He seems to be developing a bit of a reputation as a dirty player. You know, if the Spurs had made it to Game 6, he might have been suspended for that game in the finals because he had enough suspension points because he had, you know, flagrant foul on Jalen Bruns's landing area. He elbowed Naz Reid in the throat. So, you know, he has to be careful or else he's gonna, you know, really get an established rep as a dirty player, which is never a good thing. Much like he always gets compared to LeBron because he's in these GOAT conversations. Much like a young LeBron in 07, the chance to really secure the best.
I ain't gonna lie, these highlights are disgusting,
it's definitely fair to compare Wemby to LeBron, bro.
Yo, these highlights are disgusting.
was right there for the taking going into the finals, but as we all know, he had several poor showings late in the games in the finals, and basically showed he's just not ready yet. The fact that he's already in this conversation, though, pretty incredible and speaks a lot of value. And again, he just had his first playoff run, so he has no track
really thought he was about to
record
cash
or
that on him.
reputation,
Nah.
good, bad, or indifferent.
No.
Similar to Harden, right?
No.
Like Harden's a playoff choker, Embiid playoff choker. Somebody like Brunson's a playoff riser. You know, Wemby, the jury, we still have.
Oh,
you know,
that's messed up.
There's
Oh
nine
god,
or
that's
something.
messed up. Yo, he missed the shot and he
disgusting.
boomed it on his head.
All disgusting clips.
Yeah, determine what that is. I have no doubt that he's going to bounce back and he's going to end his career with some championships. But at this moment in time, in my opinion, he's simply not consistent enough offensively to be considered the best player in the world.
Yeah, he might
Next
win
up
soon.
is Shai
You think Wemby gonna win in the next 5 years?
Yeah, 100%.
1 or 2 rings.
At least like 2.
At least 2
Everybody's
rings
most
in the next
famous
5
and
years.
Yeah, because if he almost won in his third season, he's gonna win it soon, bro.
Yeah.
Exciting player to watch, am I right? The arguments for SGA being the best player are that he's been the best player on the best team in the league over the last 3 seasons. I mean, that's just fact. I mean, he's OKC's best player, and record-wise, you know, they've been the best team in the league the last 3 years, so that is true. It's not nothing. In the regular season, he is historically efficient and consistent in scoring. Whether or not you hate it, the fact that he has whatever.
Bro,
you know, he
we
broke
went
Wilt
and saw
Chamberlain's
SGA IRL, bro.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. SGA is a different type of guy, bro, at basketball.
Dude's a hooper.
He's
bro.
a hooper, bro.
It's tough, bro.
Tough.
You got a lot
regular
of vision.
season record for 20-point games in a row. You know, I'm not a fan of SGA's game and watching him flop, but still, that's an incredible accomplishment, even though it's kind of hollow because he's scored under 20 points a couple times in the playoffs the last couple of years. But still, to go, you know, almost 2 regular seasons in a row without ever scoring under 20 points in a game, that is impressive. He is excellent at drawing fouls, and this is a good or a bad thing depending entirely on who you're rooting for. Over the last 2 years, he's got 2 MVPs and a finals MVP, which is more accolades in recent history than anybody else has. He's not the most well-rounded guy, but he also doesn't have any real glaring weaknesses. In other words, he's a guy that has a very high floor. And just in general, he seems to be a good leader, and he has a good attitude, and he seems to be well-spoken and towards the media, seems to have pretty good, thoughtful answers most of the time. So he seems like a decent guy. Seems like he'd be a good teammate, and I do think that matters.
Finals
But then
MVP,
we get to
Wemby.
the arguments against SGA. The biggest one is that he's kind of, at this point, established himself as a playoff dropper. It got covered up, you know, the last couple years because they ended up winning a championship, and he got finals MVP last year versus Indy, and so nobody said anything, but this year, it was pretty bad. His efficiency the last 3 years has torpedoed in the playoffs every time. In terms of skill set, he's a capable three-point shooter, but that's not really his game. And in a league where the three-pointer is becoming more and more prevalent, kind of sticks out more and more. He might be the least valuable superstar of all time outside of Kevin Durant in Golden State. The Thunder consistently win their minutes without him, and his on-off splits, particularly in the playoffs, are very, very stinky. It's very Jaylen Brown-esque. He's extremely fortunate to be in a situation where he really gets to only focus on the one area of his game that he excels at, which is as a scorer. As we all know, OKC, they're such a well-built team that he really only has to focus on scoring in order for them to win most of the time. The other part is, and this does matter, is the eye test. He's horrible to watch. We all know he's horrible to watch. He's almost as famous for his flopping as he is for his performance. I might argue he's even more famous at this point for flopping than he is for his performance. He just has zero box office appeal to anybody who's not Thunder fan. And like I said earlier, he doesn't really have a well-rounded game. He's not a great passer, rebounder, or defender. Again, he's not terrible in any of those areas, but he doesn't stand out in any of those areas either. He's kind of a one-trick pony whose only trick wears thin the longer playoff series.
But I feel like
you think SGA is better than Wemby? Keep it a buck.
Bro, that's not the problem right now, bro. I feel like SGA's flopping is kind of crazy. I'm gonna be honest. But like, chat, how do y'all think about this? I don't know. You gotta be skilled to do that, bro. But it does change the game a lot. Chat, what do you guys think about that, man?
Goes on for. And this might be the most controversial one, but I know the stats say otherwise, and I know that the accolades might say otherwise. But deep down, I don't know if he's better than Jalen Brunson. I really don't. If you ask me if I could have
Not
one
better than Jalen
Brunson.
What?
What?
Nah,
Nah,
Jalen Brunson's
bro.
better.
these guys for a playoff series, I might have Brunson instead, which I know sounds crazy, but it just, I don't know. So I don't believe SGA is the best player in the world. And finally, we get to Nikola Jokic, the advanced stats darling, the analytics heartthrob, blah, blah, blah. The arguments for Jokic being the best in the world are the fact that he is the best offensive player in the NBA. And offense is the most important side of the ball. It is. I don't want to hear any discussions about this. Great offense beats great defense. Offense is always more important than defense, and Jokic is the best offensive player in the NBA.
Nah, defense wins games, bro. Defense is literally the thing that wins games. No. Defense wins games, bro. Offense is good and all, but you gotta play defense to stop the offense. Come on.
Ability.
You can't score if you're getting defended crazy. That's why defense is important.
It's absolutely legendary. I love watching him play because of his passing ability. Although I do admit that his assists per game is a little bit inflated sometimes because he kind of farms the designated handoff assist to guys like Murray and the other Nuggets backcourt players. But I mean, he's without question one of the greatest passers of all time. The other area of his game that's kind of supernatural is his touch around the basket. His touch around the basket as a scorer in the paint. He might have the best touch of all time. I'm being completely serious. If it's at the very least, it's also in the discussion for top 3 or 4. Again, he's obviously not athletic. He's not like he's a high flyer, but he just like if he throws up a shot anywhere in the paint, like I always assume it's going in, and it usually does.
Damn.
He puts up mind-boggling numbers, man. I know people have grown numb to it because again, we're in the social media age and we're always exposed. We're constantly exposed to these guys in ways that we weren't players of past eras. But I mean, he just pumps out numbers like nobody else, and churning out highly efficient 30-point triple-double seasons the way that he has over the last 2 years, that's absolutely insane. I don't care what the context or the era is. It's one of those things where could do it, you would do it, you know? And I just think I think that's incredible. Now we get to the arguments against Jokic. He's a bad defender. He's a bad defensive player. He doesn't block a lot of shots. He doesn't offer a lot of rim protection. And yeah, when you're a center, like I think defense is much more important. Have you watched a lot of Jokic for a center than
I haven't watched too much Jokic. To be
I watched a decent amount. I've seen him play a good amount of time.
Did you see him when he won?
Yeah, I watched that and everything, but he's more of like a calm player. You wouldn't think he's doing all of this. Well, you gotta really watch.
He's like a Tim Duncan.
Nah, probably more like crazier. I'm gonna be honest, bro.
Crazier
like the passing.
Tim Duncan?
I haven't seen Tim Duncan pass, but like, bro, I don't know. He's like a Steve Nash big man.
It is for a guard, and so yes, that's a legitimate flaw. He hasn't made a conference finals in 3 years since winning it all in 2023, and his first real breakout year was in 2019, which was 8 years ago, and in that time he has just 2 conference finals appearances, which is exactly the same as Giannis in both titles and conference finals appearances. And again, it's not all his fault, and I believe 3 different times he got to the 7th game in the second round in that span, but you know, he lost 3 times in the second round to the 7th game in those spans. But still, it is underwhelming for a player of his caliber. His last couple playoff runs, the last 2 years, from an individual standpoint, have also been disappointing, particularly in terms of efficiency. And a big reason for that is because his 3-ball has really abandoned him. Earlier in his career, when he had the playoff losses and stuff, normally his production was still up there for the most part with what he was doing in the regular season. But the last 2 years in the playoffs, his efficiency has really torpedoed. And so that's a legitimate gripe now. And he is a little bit overrated by a lot of advanced metrics. Like, I think he's an amazing player, but basically the advanced metrics say that he's the best player of all time, and yeah, I don't think that. Particularly his defense. His defense is comically overrated. He's not a good defensive player, and the defensive metric, particularly defensive box.
Bro, Jamal Murray with this lineup,
like
bro.
The greatest defensive player of all time because of the weird formula they have that like it gives a center.
People really say this dude is the best of all time on an app? No.
Credit for assists, because it's
well,
like, hey,
good
if
on
you're center
TV,
and
but
you're assisting somebody, then that means that you're able to set your defense, and that helps your defense. Very long-winded logic. I don't understand it, but that's why Jokic has such a great defensive metrics. But he's that overrates him, and he's a hothead. He seems to get a pass for he starts a lot of fights. He's been in a lot of scuffles and stuff, and he kind of gets a pass for it. I think because he's just a Serbian. Serbian, right? Blah blah blah. You know, that's just how they are. But you know, he kind of gets a pass for that. He can be kind of ticked off at times, and he loves playing basketball, but he has no interest in being the face of the league or dealing with the shit comes with being a superstar. And that's his choice, but it's very Mike Trout-esque, where it's just disappointing. And it was really obvious a couple years ago when they won the championship, and he basically acted all nonchalant about it, and it was a bit of a turnoff, really. It was like, at least act like care, like, you know, at least give off that impression.
I didn't
the
watch
optics
this
weren't great. And I
yeah,
think,
he did act like he did not care at all. Not that he cared. I mean, he did. He just wanted to ride a horse after. That's basically what it was.
If you're looking to be the best player in the world, if you're trying to be, you know, the best player in the world, then I do think how you come off to fans, fair or not, I do think that matters a bit. Not as much as production, but it does matter. And so finally, the answer you've all been waiting for patiently: who is the best player in the NBA right now? And the answer is nobody. That's right. It's not a cop-out. There is no clear-cut best player in the NBA right now. Title is up for grabs. I feel like in the playoffs, it changed like 4 times over.
Bro, LeBron is not the best, bro.
LeBron's always been the best, bro.
Bro, he hasn't been the best in like a decade.
Bro, what are you talking
Since
about?
like at least 2018, bro. Deadass. 2018,
He won in
2020.
2020.
Okay, yeah. That was probably the last time LeBron was by far the best in the NBA, though.
Bro, LeBron
I'm
is
telling
still
you,
good.
Nikola Jokic. It was Nikola Jokic.
All right, so then
Giannis.
who do you think is the best in the NBA right now, then? Who do you think?
I think it's Giannis.
Giannis?
That surprised you. I think it's Giannis, bro. I feel like just wait on it. I feel like it. Just hold on.
Going into the postseason,
I think it's
I feel
possible
like
Giannis
Jokic
can get
had it,
another
and then he
ring,
got
bro. Now
bounced
that
in the
he's on the
first
Heat,
round.
bro.
And then SGA had a great first round, and then like he had it for a couple of weeks there, and then Wemby took it after the Spurs beat OKC. And going into the finals, it's like, oh, Wemby, this is Wemby's league now. He's gonna have it. And then Wemby and the Spurs, you know, got embarrassed in the finals, and so now Wemby showed he wasn't ready for it yet, and now it's kind of like, well, shit, you know. We're in the era of parity now. 8 different teams have won in the last 8 years. So there's no dynasties. There's really been no player that has the combination of individual dominance, postseason dominance, team success, and track record, really, to stand out above the rest. All the best players currently, SGA, Jokic, Luka, Giannis, you know, Wemby, they all have either 1 ring or no championships, or they don't have playoff success. And then you got a guy like Brunson, who is kind of like Dirk, where Dirk was after 2011, where it was like great playoff run, clutch playoff run, but he's a lot closer to being, you know, like a top 7 or 8 player than he is a top 2 or 3 best player in the world type of guy. And so it's just this happens. This has happened before. I feel like the last time this happened where there wasn't a clear-cut answer to the question was maybe 20 years ago or so, in the mid-2000s, where you had young LeBron and you had Dirk and Duncan and Kobe, and Steve Nash was winning MVPs, but everybody knew he wasn't the best player. So I feel like we're kind of in that we're in an era like that right now again, and this happens every now and then. You know, there's not always going to be eras like with Jordan in the 90s, where we all know who's the best, or with LeBron in the 2010s when he's going to 8 straight finals, or like Kareem in the 70s, where he was just so overwhelmingly dominant individually to a comical degree. You know, like you're gonna have moments like this. So at this moment in time, I think the best player in the world title is up for grabs. I think that that's good for the league. I think that it's gonna make it more interesting to watch. So that's my decision. The answer is nobody. So I hope that this video made you guys happy. Again, please subscribe.
He didn't even mention Jason Tatum. Dang. And Jason Tatum's better than Jalen Brunson, bro.
Subscribe if you haven't already. And stay safe out there. Stay safe out there. Don't smoke marijuana. Don't have premarital sex.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
So, bro, what are you thinking, bro? Because this was a crazy video, man. This was a crazy video.
I appreciate the recommendation. You know what I'm saying? I personally feel like it's either Wemby or SGA, the 2 best in the NBA. I feel like Wemby, honestly, is already gonna beat whatever Michael Jordan does with just a shorter career. You know what I'm saying? So Wemby is probably gonna be that prodigy. You know what I'm saying? SGA is what he has to fight. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the toughest eras we had in the NBA, man. We're seeing it right now with all these crazy players, bro.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I don't know what he mean right now, but I feel like the best player in the NBA is Giannis, man. So, you know, let me know down below.
Giannis got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I'll mess with that.
With that being said, chat, this is the end of the video, man. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch y'all next time, though. Yes, sir.